Beat the Streets. It's a developmental organization for youth to keep kids from the 5 boroughs off the streets and do positive things like wrestling.
Yeah.
And then you have, obviously, it's huge for kids who are people of color, and to help them develop. What does it mean to you to come wrestle in this event? You let your lights out in it every year. Every year your lights out in it, whether it's in Times Square, USS Intrepid, wherever it is, your lights out. What's it mean?
Right? Well, you know what? We've worked very closely with Beat the Streets Philadelphia now. Basically a derivative of the large Beat the Streets National. So this is an umbrella and a branch of Beat the Streets, and they've done a phenomenal job in raising money and keeping kids out of the streets, out of trouble in underserved areas. And you know, one of the things that I've realized working with Beat the Streets over this last year is I've spent a lot of time with Beat the Streets individuals, but it's always been technique, a little bit of encouragement here, selling the dream, showing them my medal, trying to give them the hope of someday being Olympic champions. But when you really start to work with these kids daily, you start to recognize the difficulties that they're going through on an everyday basis, what they go home to, how difficult their lives are. And so I think that my job now has been less wrestling and more mentorship, trying to be a father figure to these individuals where, you know, they're going home in a fatherless home with 5 younger siblings, where they're in a parental role at 15, 16 years old, and they're dealing with some real problems, danger on the streets, you know, possible incarceration, being, you know, tempted by drugs daily. You know, there are a lot of things that these guys deal with that we're trying to combat. And I think the sport of wrestling is great for that because it teaches character development unlike any sport in the world. It's not glamorous, it's not sexy, but what I do know is that it'll make you a man. And that's what we need. We need men, strong men, with leadership abilities and the willingness to break generational curses in their families. And I think that we're in a pivotal role to do those things. I was lucky. I had 2 parents who are still together. They've been married over 30 years. My parents both worked for numerous years. My dad just retired this past year. He was a construction worker. My mom was a pension processor for Local 332 in Philadelphia. And you know, I came from a middle class, working class family. And my parents worked really hard to put me in a position, but my dad always told me to control my destiny. Unfortunately, a lot of these kids don't have that sort of encouragement at home. And so who gives it to them? Us. You know, they're heroes, real life heroes that are willing to sacrifice their time. And so I got 4 kids of my own that I'm trying to encourage. But I think that, you know, what I do know is there are a lot of things that are important to me, my family being one of them, but also I have a civic duty to the public and to the people that follow me. And I want to really encourage and motivate the individuals that I spend time with and all Beat the Streets locations.